Now, 855-400-SAVAGE. 855-400-7282. SAVAGE.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com.
These are the same folks oftentimes who suggest that they're so tough that just talking to Putin or staring down ISIL or using some additional rhetoric somehow is going to solve the problems out there. But apparently they're scared of widows and orphans coming into the United States of America as part of our tradition of compassion. Now, first they were worried about the press being too tough on them during debates. Now they're...
At a certain point, his lowness becomes so low that it's embarrassing even to be a Democrat. Isn't there no Democrat out there who sees the man for who he is now at a time of real pressure? Can you not see what this man actually is? Is this presidential? When the whole world is laughing at him, the whole world sees that we have a king who has no clothes, that every country is stepping up to fight back except us. And the man is an embarrassment, which is why Trump is the only chance we have. If Trump does not win, the country is over. If we get that corrupt lady from wherever she's really from, questionable where she's really from, I don't know where she's from, but if we get that corrupt lady in the White House, forget about it. You should pack your bags. Amelia on WABC, welcome to the Savage Nation.
Yes, hi. I can't tell you how excited, how I've been praying that you would be able to speak to Donald Trump again, because I value your opinions and everything that you say, and obviously he does too, because he called and you spoke with him and you kind of mentored him, and I pray that he does win, because he's the only one that sticks up for the American people.
Were you afraid that he wouldn't come on again after I criticized him for what he said about Carson?
I think that was fantastic. And to show that he still took it so well.
Yes, and Amelia, this is a news-making interview because there is not one other example in the American media today of a major league candidate who will go back on a radio show after the host criticized them on air. Do you know that?
Know that. And you know what? It goes to show that he values your opinion just like everybody else.
Yes, not only that, but he also has the guts to come back on the show, and he's not thin-skinned. It shows that he has real leadership qualities.
Absolutely.
It means he can take criticism. We learned that Donald Trump can take criticism. We learned that he's not vindictive. We also learned that he's willing to listen to a talk show host. We learned 3 things today. That's a major league thing in this campaign. Can you give me one example of a of a news show or talk show that if they criticized Hillary Clinton, she'd ever go on that show again? Can you name a situation like that? Can you name one liberal who'd ever criticize her at any point? Never, because she'd never go back on the show. Can you name one liberal news outlet that ever criticized Obama? Never. 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 So Trump is a real American. Trump is willing to get down and argue with people, take criticism. He would be the greatest president this country has ever had. He would outdo Ronald Reagan, by the way.
He speaks for all of us, and I'm so happy that he's in this race. I really am. I really pray that he wins and does us justice, because we need somebody.
You're right, Amelia. Amelia, are you cooking for Thanksgiving, or are you going out?
No, actually, I'm going to my daughter's.
Where? What city? You're in New York. Where does she live?
New Jersey.
And what do you have like at Thanksgiving? How many people?
Well, we're going to have about 10 people.
Wow, you're very lucky. My family is scattered all over the country. It's not like when my mother was alive. We'd have 20 people in a little house in Queens. And the minute you walked in, there was food falling off the tables. I mean, she knew how to put it, I envy you. I really do. Are all of them liberals that you're going to, Amelia?
I'm sorry?
How many of them are liberals amongst the people, the 10 are going to be there?
I have to say, maybe 2. Maybe 2.
And what, the women or men? Men or women? Are they like a Bernie Sanders type liberal or what?
They're for Obama, and I cannot. Well, my God, they drive me crazy. I can't stand it when they even breathe his words. But yes, I would. If
I give you a copy of Government Zero, which I'm going to do, would you show it to them?
absolutely. Oh, my God, I'm so honored. Thank you so much.
No, but you got to understand, they're going to look at you like, what, are you kidding? To them, it's like Mein Kampf. If you showed them Government Zero, they'd see a swastika on the cover. That's how sick they are.
Oh, no. You know what? I don't understand. I often say, I hate when he says, I'm speaking for the American people. Well, I'm an American, and I hate it because you're...
Oh, you mean when Obama says it's not American values to not want refugees who amongst whom you'll know they'll be terrorists now or in the future? That's not an American value to want to live? Tell me what nation doesn't have a value of survival?
You're right.
All right, I'm sending you the book. Amelia, just bring it to the dinner. I can't wait for after Thanksgiving when all people call in and say, Mike, here's what happened when I showed the book. I want to hear the discussions. That's going to be fun. All right, my friends. Why is Obama bringing in Syrian Muslim refugees, mainly military-age men? They're not mainly infants and women. You know that he's a liar. Did you hear the big lie? Did you hear this big lie that they're all women and orphans? 3-year-old orphans? Have you seen the pictures of them? They look like battle-hardened military veterans who threw away their uniforms to get into the country. Oh, yeah. You think it's rhetoric? You didn't see the story, the breaking news? I didn't get to it before Donald came on. Syrians with stolen passports caught trying to enter U.S. in Honduras. Police in Honduras caught 5 Syrians with stolen passports who were trying to make their way to the United States. Even the Hondurans are tougher on the Syrian emigres than is Obama. He has opened the door. He's kicked our doors in. He said, come on in. I don't care what happens to the American people. You can blame Catholic charities. You can blame Lutheran Family Services. You can blame Baptist Family Services. Because in my opinion, they're no better than the coyotes who were used to smuggle people through the American border. Can you tell me the difference between human smugglers and these front groups for religions who are making billions of dollars off these refugees, and they're wrapping it in the guise of humanitarianism? Tell me the difference if you can. You know, a couple of books ago, I said, stop the coming civil war. And I said to you that Obama's been engaged in a civil war against civil society long before he was foisted upon us by the secret hands behind this amazing situation that we're in. And now the whole world finally recognizes the danger to their societies from Muslims. I mean, in plain English, I can't mince words anymore, because amongst the good ones, there's some bad ones. At a time like this, you don't bring in refugees. You let it all sort itself out. You get rid of ISIS. Then you even ask yourself, why do we need to bring in refugees at all? I mean, but you don't foist them upon a people that's opposed to it. And yet they continue the big lie. They continue to double down on their double talk. They're saying that they're mainly women and children. The exact opposite is true. Every study has shown that majority of Syrian refugees that Obama is rushing through the gates are single men of military age, and yet they keep lying that they're women and children. Listen to clip 8 from the great head of the Department of Homeland Security, this strange man, a former corporate lawyer from Wall Street, by the way, Jeh Johnson, in clip 8.
Syrian refugees, for the most part, the ones who we have admitted are women and children. They are the principal victims of the violence that is occurring in that part of the world.
I would hope that Jeh Johnson and every other official in this corrupt administration be required by an act of Congress to put up a personal surety bond, collateral, in other words, of a house, something in value of $1 million or more, that would go into a fund that will be used for the victims of terrorism, should such victims occur somewhere down the line from any of the, quote, innocent refugees that they're bringing in. I hear the applause. Savage, once again, you're ahead of the pack. Savage, you came up with a great idea. If they're so convinced that they're all safe and wonderful and wholesome, clean as the driven snow, as it were, then I ask each of these wonderful government officials who are just certain, to 100th degree of certainty, 100% of certainty, that all of them are innocent, they will not harm us, that they put up collateral for a victims fund, a future victims fund. And should none of these refugees conduct an act of terror within, let's say, a time period of 10 years, they get their money back with interest. See, the fund would earn interest. The collateral will earn interest. Then Jeh Johnson, the corporate attorney from Wall Street, who is so sure of these things, Even the president should put up some collateral. He's a rich man. He could write a book and get a $20 million advance. Put up the advance of a future book on this fund for innocent victims of these refugees should they occur. Is that irrational? Now, why am I so sure that we're going to have a terrorist attack from amongst the refugees? Why? Because the law of averages would tell us that it's going to happen. The law of average would say that amongst these innocent refugees, there's going to be some bad apples, and they're going to hurt some American people. Here's the King of Jordan, who's a very intelligent man in Clip 9. Listen to what he has to say.
We are facing a third world war against humanity, and this is what brings us all together. This is a war, as I've said repeatedly, within Islam. And unfortunately, over 100,000 Muslims have been murdered by Daesh alone over the past 2 years. And that doesn't also count for the atrocities that like-minded groups have also done in Africa and Asia. So therefore, we must act fast and holistically to tackle and respond to the interconnected threats, whether it is in this region, Africa, Asia, or in Europe.
Wouldn't you wish that even the King of Jordan were the President of the United States? Don't you hear in his voice intelligence, reason, logic? And what do you hear in the voice of Obama and his henchmen? Do you hear logic? Do you hear reason? I don't hear logic or reason. I hear hatred and deceit. I hear hatred and deceit. I see government zero everywhere. What do I mean by government zero? It means a government unto itself. A government unto itself. No representation for the American people. An article just came out in the Drudge Report that a governor of Tennessee, was it the governor of Tennessee? No, a lawmaker in Tennessee wants to put the National Guard to stop the refugees. Activate Guard to stop refugees. Don't let them into the state. Bring them back to ICE. Do not let any of them into the state. Tennessee got leader, round up Syrian refugees, remove them from the state. They're not coming to Tennessee, they're yours. He said, take them back to the ICE center and say, they're not coming to Tennessee, they're yours. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Instead, we have Moonbeam in California saying, give us your tired, your poor, and your possible suicide bombers, because we need the votes. There's more. It gets even worse, but I don't know how much of this you can take. I personally can't sleep these days. I'm having a rough time. I mean, I sleep, but then I think about this, and the only question that keeps going back and forth in my mind, and it's the pregnant question. There's only one question in my mind. How would you stop it, Michael, if you had the power? And there really is only one answer. And the one answer is not going to happen. You know what the one answer is. There's only one answer to stop a future terrorist attack in America. You know the answer, right? There's only one answer. And we know we can't do it. We cannot do what Franklin Delano Roosevelt did. Those days are over. You can't do that. You can't inter an entire population based on religion or race, can you? That's what FDR did, the good liberal Democrat. We can't do that. Those were the horrible dark days when liberal Democrats did things like that. Today they bend over backwards to make sure that nothing like that is ever done again. Now, look, even if you look back upon the Japanese internment, which we've heard about over and over and over again, there was a reason FDR interred the Japanese in America. As dark a period as that was in American history, he did it for a reason, the liberal Democrat. You know what their reason was? He had evidence that there were Japanese Americans, a very small number of them, a small minority of them, who were actively working with Japanese intelligence against our national security interests. And he could not chance that they would help saboteurs or help in thwarting our war effort. And that's why many innocent Japanese had to be scooped up in that dragnet in order to make sure that in that dragnet they got those who might harm us. That's why FDR did it. Now, of course, I'm not suggesting we do that now, nor am I suggesting that that could ever be done again. No, that's not. You don't put the survival of the people above your liberal or humanitarian instincts. You put your humanitarian instincts above everything else. You put your political philosophy above survival itself. And you use the liberal credo that I've heard ever since I'm a little boy. I would rather see 99 guilty men go free than one innocent man be arrested. That's liberal logic for you. That's until a bomb winds up in their kitchen. And so we face